Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Spitz-Cohan, Executive Director of Film Pittsburgh, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the Pittsburgh Shorts Block 8 Q&A with these lovely filmmakers who I have the privilege of talking to today. If you wouldn't mind going around and introducing yourselves to our audience, that would be awesome. Why don't we start with you, David?
Hi, I'm David. I'm the writer-director of Hot Chocolate, which is a film about a young woman who arrives home to discover the body of her flatmate, and she has to deal with that situation without alerting her younger sister who's waiting for her just outside.
And David, tell everybody where you are right now.
Oh, I'm in Dunedin in New Zealand, so at the very bottom of the South Island in a COVID-free country. I'm really sorry. It's great.
Wow. Thanks, David. Jonathan, you're up.
Jonathon Gruber. Thanks for putting the film in. It's Stu. It's about Ambassador Stuart Eisenstadt, who's this remarkable, unsung, really public servant that goes back all the way to the Carter administration and sort of his impact on the world. Great.
Where are you, Stu? Where are you, Stu? Where are you, Jonathan?
Call me Stu. Call me whatever you want.
I just saw the Stu on your screen. Where are you located?
I'm outside of Washington, D.C. in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Who's up next? Karabo, how about yourself?
Hi, my name is Karabo Lediga. I'm the writer-director of What Did You Dream?, a film about an 11-year-old girl in 1990s South Africa who's unable to remember her dreams. But her grandmother plays this lottery where she believes that children's dreams make her win. So there's anxiety about her not being able to remember those dreams for her grandmother.
Natasha, bring us up.
Hi, I'm Natasha Lewin. I'm the writer-director of Chatter, the very, very short about a young mixed girl who is doing battle with self-doubt, the voices of self-doubt. And if you can tell, I'm in Chicago. I'm in Los Angeles, originally from Chicago.
Gotcha. Well, thank you all for being here today. Karabo, where are you located?
I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa. It's 9:11 p.m. here, and it's very, very warm.
Oh, I wish I was there. Tell us a little bit about how this film came to be. It was so beautifully done, and I'm curious to know how you came up with the story.
I was trying to remember my childhood. When my parents got divorced, we lost a lot of our family albums, so I'm always kind of like obsessed with memories, and I make them out to be bigger than they are. So that was part of a memory of my childhood, where I used to go visit my grandmother in a township in Pretoria, South Africa. And that was the game that she played, or the gambling and she asked us to remember our dreams, and that's what we did on a daily basis. And I kind of linked it to my anxiety of going to be like being the first person to go to a white school in my family. So I was going to be alienated from my family, and it felt like not being able to dream was what that anxiety kind of how it manifested itself. So it's a memory.
Well, thank you for sharing it. I love when filmmakers share personal stories in a cinematic way. So thank you for that. And Jonathan, talk to me about Stu. Sure. I've been aware of the film for quite some time, and so I'm finally glad that we're able to present it. How did it come to be, and how did you? I did not know about Stu prior to your film, so thank you for sharing his story.
Sure. Well, it came about in an interesting way. I have a relationship with the Eisenstadt family here in DC. Everyone's connected to the government in some way. And for his 75th birthday, his two sons approached me and said, "Hey, can we make a film about him for this big party that we're throwing for him?" And I said, "Sure, but we're not really going to do a birthday video. We really need to do a documentary because he's pretty remarkable." And so to their credit, they agreed, they went for it, and we wound up interviewing Presidents Carter, President Clinton, all these people who Stu has been connected with, Vice Presidents Biden, Mondale, Gore, Secretary Madeleine Albright, all these remarkable people who had who took time out to tell, talk about Stu and his remarkable accomplishments. And so pretty grateful for that opportunity, and happy to talk more about it.
Well, I think one of the things that was so meaningful to me when I watched it is how he was able to work with both Democrats and Republicans. And that just seems like such a foreign concept right now, that anybody is able to do that. So I was appreciative of that.
Yeah, I think it speaks to who he is, that he was focused. He was a public servant and focused on what's best for the citizens of the not just the United States, but he did a tremendous amount of work for Holocaust survivors, really spearheaded the work on Holocaust reparations for people around the world. And just so many stories about him, what he had done. He helped get thousands of Iranian Jews after the out of the country after the revolution. I could go on and on, but maybe people should see the film.
Absolutely. Well, the idea here is that they've watched the block and then they're going to watch this. So spoiler alerts are not necessary, okay. I don't think. I mean, who knows, but we're not acting as if we want you to talk about your films and how they came to be. Natasha, how did this film come to be?
So in 2016, Robin Williams killed himself, and it was a real big blow to me. He was my idol, and I didn't know how to process it. I understood him as a person being so effervescent and lust for life out loud, but inside he had all this inner turmoil. And I'm also a suicide survivor, so I felt like it was time for me to tell my story. Because no one knew except for my parents. I tried when I was 16, and there was school. It was summer in session, so none of my friends had to know. And I ended up writing this as a play. It was a full-length play, and I won a National Endowment for the Arts Scholarship to put it up. And the play did really, really well. And I ended up, coming out of the closet about suicide, and it was very, very tolling and taxing, as you can imagine. But then someone approached me about making the short. And so I said, okay, I'll make the short, but it has to be super, super short because I can't, the emotions is just a lot, so it was a play first, and then it became this very, very micro short.
Mm-hmm. It's, again, it's a story that's very personal, and there are so many people that would never tell a story that has anything to do with their own personal life. So again, I'm just grateful to artists that are willing to share their personal stories. So thank you for that. David, let's talk a little bit about Hot Chocolate. I was just mesmerized by your lead actress, and just how did you come up with it?
I just had a very similar conversations with a number of people within a very short space of time, and really the thing that got me to make it was that as soon as the structure of the film just kind of appeared, and the moment that the structure appeared, it was like, oh, that's really good, I have to make that now. And then and so that was really it. And so obviously the audience will have seen the film. It's the story of someone who actually finds a body after a suicide and has to deal with it, and deals with it in some ways well, but in most ways, well, not most ways, in some ways really badly, which I think is what you would do. You couldn't possibly be prepared for that moment, so there's no way you would do it well. And so I thought that was that's not the perspective you would ordinarily take on a story like that, but I thought it was also a compassionate story to tell at the same time.
Well, it was interesting because you had the lead actor dealing with the death of a flatmate, but then also you had this tension because she had her much younger sister in the car, and she didn't want to have to not only, sort of like understand her own emotions about the suicide, but then have to explain it to a young, really like a little kid. Tell me about how you found this actress, because she was phenomenal.
Okay. I was talking to a producer about a completely different project, and she recommended her. She just worked with her on her grad film.
Okay.
And so this was her first short out of drama school.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I saw her in the other short, and she was just like, she was just wonderful. And there was a moment in the film where she's in a car that's being driven too fast by somebody, and watching her, I absolutely felt how she felt, which, you're like, yes, that feeling, I want that feeling,
Yeah.
And she did it quietly and intimately, and so we still auditioned. We auditioned for the role, but she was the first person that I saw, and she was the person that we cast.
Yeah, sometimes it works out that way. Karabo, how was it for you, the casting of all those young children? And your cast was amazing also. How was it? How did you find them all?
My older brother is also a filmmaker. He had made a film that he just kind of thought up during December holidays, and we had to cast quite quickly. So he had this idea of going to the National Theatre, which is in the capital city, Pretoria, and did kind of like a workshop around with the theatre clinic. So he found really amazing raw talent, So when I thought about making this film, because a lot of kid actors don't have the language, they all kind of went to good schools, so they can't speak indigenous languages. So I had to go to the same theater and kind of like do a call, and some of the kids were in a theater clinic. The lead had just started about 6 months in. She was completely raw. The boy was about a year in. The little girl, she came from home and came to audition. So, and I had to work with them a lot on the script before we started shooting. But they I guess because they were so young, they were not tainted in any way, so they caught on very quickly.
How many days did you shoot?
Only 4 days, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I wanted to find a house that looked like my grandmother's. Those houses are kind of like very few and far apart now because, the township has developed. So we found 3 of them and kind of like made it look like it was one house. So it was a very intense 4 days in like the hottest like month of summer, yeah. But it was fun, yeah.
Great. Natasha, your shoot was, your film is 2-3 minutes, something like that. Did you shoot all in one day? Yeah. Okay.
It's 1 minute and 47 seconds. It is all one shot. It's all, it's not 1917 one shot, but it's one shot. And so I think that was take number 79 that we landed it on. And then many of the women are from the play. They're cast from the play, except for 2 other people. We added in a roommate. So it's, they're all the voices in her head, but we added in a roommate so we could break away for a minute. So very short.
Yeah, but we like to show a wide range in each block, so it's not all on the same theme, it's not on the same type of film, and so we like to take our audiences on a sort of an emotional roller coaster ride. Jonathon, tell us about your film and the making of the film, and how long did it take? You clearly, is this the exact film that was shown at the birthday party?
Yeah. There was one little
amazing
part about Stu's wife who passed away, which we took, literally about 10 seconds because they were referencing it for that evening. But it took us, I think we started in the summer in July of a couple of years ago, and then finished it in the following January. There was so much to coordinate with these high level, luminaries of the Democratic Party. So we had half an hour with President Clinton in Boston. We had 20 minutes with Vice President Gore in Nashville. We went to Israel and interviewed. I'd say there were probably a dozen shoot days, if not more. And one thing I should say that I should have said before is that initially the family, they're very private, and they really didn't want this to come out. But I spoke to Stu, and he just wrote a book about his time during, he was the domestic policy advisor for President Carter, and he wrote a book about it, and there was a production company that wanted to do a film about it. That didn't come through, and I said, it's really a shame, to not have this film out there. You should really let the world see it. And to his credit, I mean, obviously he's a very private person, and but he said okay, let's put it out there, and we've been fortunate to have a number of festivals show it.
That's fantastic. Great. So that's what it's really primarily been shown at festivals across the world.
Yeah. We haven't really even thought about having a distributor or anything like that. That's right. Its initial purpose was served, and this is sort of a bonus. And who knows, if someone approached us, that would be great to have it a wider audience.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it on PBS or some kind of broadcast situation, but it's valuable to us, and it's unique in its own way. I can't say that I've ever seen a film just quite like that before. Any fun stories or challenges that anybody wants to share that they haven't yet done? You want to talk about what you're working on now? Anybody have any great things to share with our audience? They are always interested in knowing what you're working on now. Karabo, what are you working on?
I'm working on my first feature film, also another personal story about depression.
Congrats.
So hopefully it gets made.
What's the filmmaking community like where you are? Is it challenging? Is there some countries have governmental funding?
Yeah, so we've always had funding, which is great. People exploited a lot, and we also the first kind of country where Netflix is kind of experimenting. I worked on the first African original Netflix, so there's a big market here for streaming. They're coming in. So along with government funding and the streamers coming in, we seem to be doing well for ourselves. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want to share what they're working on now?
Yeah, I'll share.
Go ahead, David. Natasha. Thank you.
No, go ahead, Natasha. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I got the Dick Van Dyke show happening over here. Everything's come rolling down on me. So I got picked up for a narrative drama podcast that I've created and wrote. Yeah, it's really great. And so we just finished the first season. It's called White Privilege Radio Play, and it's about a black. I write about being mixed and Black and Jewish, and also very fair skinned. So it's about a fair skinned Black and Jewish reporter who ends up working at a Fox News type place and ends up passing as white and reveling in that white privilege. So yes, I'm very proud of that. We just wrapped season 1. We just got picked up for season 2. So yeah, check it out.
Congrats.
What is it called?
White Privilege Radio Play.
I'll check it out.
David, what about you?
I'm just finishing a series for National Geographic about weird animals. It's called Ocean's Weirdest, so keep an eye out for that. And then I've got another short coming up in January. We're going to film it, and so that's about a young politician who is out doing door knocking when news breaks of a sex scandal that she's been involved in. So she kind of has the duration of a house call with one of her constituents to save her career.
Wow. Okay. Please submit it to Pittsburgh Shorts for next year.
I'll jump in with. Can I jump in with what I'm working on? Sure, thank you, David. I'm excited for you that you can think about production, which is great.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. I know this.
No, go ahead.
No, it's weird. We've got this little island where production just is happening and people are flying in from all over the place to make stuff.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'll see if I have enough miles to do that. I just finished a documentary film on Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, and that premiered at the Heartland Film Festival in Indianapolis, in Midwestern U.S. And so that's great. We're looking forward to that rolling out. And then sort of my Moby Dick that I've been working on for far too long is a film about the history of sarin gas. poison gas. It's a heartwarming film, but it's important that people know about chemical weapons in the world. It's sort of an untold story.
When Jonathan's not making films, he's a stand-up comedian.
Oh, is he?
Yes,
No.
my family would disagree, but
Good job,
thank you.
Catherine. Good job.
It's that dry humor, Jonathan.
Yeah, I see.
Right, being a New Yorker, I can't help it.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's been really enjoyable talking with you. I wish you all the best of luck with your new endeavors. Stay safe and healthy. And to our Film Pittsburgh audience, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Catherine. Bye, everybody.
Yay.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.